Good evening, everybody. I'm actually not in Sri Lanka. At the same time, I had some initial difficulties this morning in trying to connect up because the license has lapsed or something, and then I had to redo the whole thing. And only now I got connected. Then I got this very disturbing news coming from Sri Lanka. So that also had a little bit of delay in connecting. I hope everybody is safe and you are in a proper mental state to do a lecture with me. I will try to do my keep my nerves calm. I don't know how you are going to keep your nerves calm. I hope and pray that everything will settle down uh, the best way that possible. Extremely unfortunate to be in situation right now. Uh, do you all hear what I'm saying? Hello?
Yes, yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah. Okay. But I think there are some connection problem. Huh? Right. Okay. I don't read all this. My house people also getting agitated here. Okay. Sorry. Sorry for that interruption. I hope you all are safe and sound. Everybody must be at home, I suppose. So let's try to at least focus on what we are supposed to be doing this evening. I hope you don't mind me taking a little bit more time to finish the lecture. It's about 6:45 or 6:50 p.m. right now in Sri Lanka. So I will straight away go to the lecture. Right. In just a minute, I need to set up the screen sharing because there'll be a lot of videos and stuff. So I need to set up the screen sharing as well in the proper way. Otherwise, these videos don't get shared, and also sound doesn't get shared. I want to know whether the screen that you see is being shared right now. Let me see. I have should try to. Okay, give me a minute. Because it's not the normal way that I should be sharing, because there are a lot of 4 videos, in fact. So I think the best thing I can do is to calm your nerves and calm my nerves. And I hope, can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen now? All right, okay. Yeah. And so first of all, let's focus and relax ourselves. However much you may be agitated. I think I'm more agitated than you guys because I'm not there in the country, so I don't know really what's the position. Tell me if you hear that, see the sound, okay? Do you see the video? I'm sure you see the video, right? It just started playing. Do you see the sound? You hear sound?
Yes,
do you hear
yes.
sound?
Yes,
you hear
sir.
the sound? Do you see the video?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Now, please relax for a while, couple of minutes. I'm sorry, somebody had sent me a message saying to increase the volume. I did not. So anyway, I think you all enjoyed. Did you all hear the sound? Hello? Did you all hear the sound?
Oh, okay, sir.
Did you all hear the sound?
Yes, sir. Okay.
So you all enjoyed, right? So this will put you in a kind of at least some partial mode. And please unmute all your mics and let's try to concentrate on the lecture, right? Can everyone please mute your mics, Kapila Jayasundara, Kalpani Jayasundara, please mute your mic. Kalpani Jayasundara, I don't know who, yeah. Please mute all your mics, right? We'll have to concentrate on this lecture so that we have started 1.5 an hour late, okay? Right. So why did I show this? For two reasons. I always try to focus everybody to a particular topic. So I thought this is a very good way of doing it. So then on the other hand, you saw 6 people without the guy who actually did the play, who helped the guy who played, okay? It's okay. So no problem, no problem. Don't be sorry. Everything happens. I mean, people make mistakes, right? No issue. Please, don't worry about that. Anything. Okay. Let's get on. So there were 6 people helping the performer. It's just like in engineering, right? I mean, we engineers cannot work on our own. We always work in teams. That's one of the most important things I want to focus on today. You all have to work in teams. I'm sure most of you are now practicing engineers. If at all, there are a couple of people who have got very little experience. I think I see some names and they are quite experienced people who have been working in the field for some time. And I know that you are a little bit neglected taking the charter on time. Please record. Harsh to everyone. I think this session is being recorded. It's going into the cloud, I can see. I don't know whether anybody is recording this. I'll send a message to the IESL. They usually upload it to the cloud, I think. So I can see some activity in the, let me send a message to Sanjeeva. The candidates want the session recorded. So can someone ring up the IESN and ask them to record it, because I am not in a position to give them a direct call. So I go to the WhatsApp. If anybody has any contact with IESL, please, I don't know whether there's IESL, iPhone is, I don't know, who's that iPhone, I don't know. Usually they record this and put it up the cloud, okay? Or I can see some activity in the cloud, not the normal recording. So I'm sure it's being recorded, and maybe there's some things that I don't know, okay? Yes, sir, they say it's recorded. It's recorded, right? Don't worry. Let's now concentrate. So as I said before, I see quite a lot of maybe experienced engineers also in the audience, which means you all may have not got the charter in time. That's perfectly all right. And now we are in a position to try to get the charter, and we have been working always in teams, as you saw in the small short video. So I am going to minimize your screen so that I will not see. I'll just try to put it in there. Yeah. So before I start anything, I want to share with you some of my very favorite videos, quotes, and anecdotes. Right? Videos, quotes, and anecdotes. So my first quote is coming from a book gifted to me by the author Arup Roy Chowdhury, the CEO of NTPC's National Thermal Power Corporation of India. And he has a good track record in India itself, where he, at the age of 32 or 33, was made a CEO, one of the youngest CEOs in India, even in India, of a large government organization of 300,000 people. 300,000 people. So when he says something on management, possibly you have to accept that, right? So when I went in 2014, I met this guy. He had his own, oh my God, sprawling office and several office blocks, and he is one of the most powerful people in the power sector as well as in the public sector. So he has just written this book when I met him, Management by Idiots. Management by Idiots. If you can find this book, please find it. It's a small book, but it has very interesting perspectives to management. It's called Management by Idiots. So he gifted to me a copy, and so I'll take the first chapter. This is what he says. If you don't blow your own trumpet, now we also, one reason why I showed that trumpet is to show you what a trumpet is. If you don't blow your own trumpet, others will make it a spittoon. Spittoon is in Sinhala padikkama, in Tamil padikkam, right? You know what it is. Now, spittoons are not very common these days, except when you go to a Pirit house, you see these spittoons going around with these monks are chanting. So what it says is, if you don't blow your own trumpet, when I say blow your own trumpet, it has so many connotations. Empty blowing is nothing. So they say, don't rattle like empty vessels. So if you have not done anything, you can be shouting and bragging about it. Nobody's going to listen to you. But if you've done something worthwhile, and sharing it with your own colleagues and peers is absolutely important. And even to show you what you can do to the policymakers, the decision makers, they should know what you're capable of. So don't keep it to yourself what you have done and what you're capable of. As engineers, you should do that. And engineers can easily do that, because you all build bridges, you all build power stations, you all build network systems, you all do excellent communication systems. And I know large number of young engineers in Sri Lanka are really doing very well, especially even as entrepreneurs. But who sees you all? Who knows you all? So you must make yourself known. You must make yourself known in the country. And then people will pick you up and say, hey, this is a guy, young guy, who is capable of doing something. Of course, the opportunity is getting opened up for young fellows to get into all start of life. Do it. So don't keep it to yourself. Why? This is what's going to happen if you don't do it. If you don't blow your own trumpet, see what's going to happen. In Sinhala, sometimes people may say, Olluwata atha hodai. I feel very sorry sometimes that even recently this discussion came up. Lawyers are seen. I'm not saying that you must get into the roads, right? Please, you see what has happened today by not properly guided youth from either side. I'm not saying anybody is bad. There was no proper leadership in my own mind. This I may be wrong, because I've been away from the country for 1.5 months now. So I may be wrong, but if there was proper leadership on both sides, I would say, probably this situation that happened today in my own country wouldn't have happened, I would say. Right? See how the lawyers are there in full force, I was told, trying to calm the nerves on either side. On either side. Right? So we have to, as engineers, show that professionalism is the way forward for our country, nothing else. Not shouting slogans, not kap to kak kak. I mean, let's kap to kak kak. People shout kap to kak kak kak, but as engineers, we should not get into kap to kak kak kak. Right? We have better things to do. Have we shown what we are capable of doing in the country? I'm sorry to say no. Having been in the field for 44 years. I graduated in 1978. So today it is 44 years plus. And in my public life, I have served in the CB for 36 years and in the Nerd Center for 2 years. I've been teaching since. I've been teaching from 1980s, actually, in the universities, and still teaching in the universities as a visiting lecturer. I'm blowing my own trumpet because I can stand up and say I have done something for the country, which you'll see in a moment. And there's also a small story that's no time to share you with that. Okay. Now, this particular next slide, I want you to look at it with a lot of reverence and almost like a meditation. Because the Hindu scripts are supposed to be one of the most oldest scripts ever to be found, inscribed on leaves and caves and whatnot, right? And those some of them are called Veda scripts, right? And there are so many Vedas, maybe like it's similar to the Buddhist literature as well, right? Sutras and Dhammapada. So the Hindu Vedas are known to be as old as 3,000 to 4,000 years, written scripts. Okay, they are written scripts. So what it says in Rig Veda, I want you to concentrate on these three things. The picture there is a three-way junction, Tumanhandiya. When there's harmony between mind, heart, and resolution. Three things: mind, heart, and resolution. A mind, we may say, is our learning, is what we are gathered by learning and maybe your experience, all our knowledge base. Heart, that we have to put that with a human touch. Heart is something to do with your emotions, your feelings, the way you treat people and how other people treat us. I mean, that connects people, right? Heart. Mind, knowledge, heart, that is not enough. If you have only mind and the heart, you'll be a hermit. You can go and be a hermit. Hermits have the mind and the heart. 100% concentration on mind and the heart. But where is the resolution? He also has a resolution, but for him to emancipate, the hermit, tapas rakina aya. වැරදි කියන්නේ මම. තාපසන් වහන්සේලා එයාගේ විමුක්තිය උදෙසා මානසික තෘප්තිය උදෙසා මානසික ඒකාග්‍රතාවය පාවිච්චි කරගෙන resolve to emancipate himself. But engineers are not hermits. And what do the engineers do? They resolve to do something. And when they have got the resolution to do something, nothing is impossible. I'm going to dwell on these three things, my dear friends. Nothing else. Mind, heart, and resolution. I'm going to bring one after another examples where the mind, heart, and the resolution has worked. If you don't have the mind, that means if you don't have the knowledge, whatever you do with your feelings and resolution will not work, my dear friends. I can give you examples of how the engineers have failed and failed miserably. But they did not have proper engineering education and experience, and they did not properly put that in the proper context. You can be a good Potegura. That's not going to take you anywhere. On the other hand, you may have the brilliant of the brains and you may be an excellent engineer. If you don't have the human touch, if you do not know what the people want from you, you may do something absolutely stupid. You may do something absolutely stupid. Haven't you heard of people talking about, let me talk from my own trade. I'm an electrical engineer. Haven't you heard people shouting and saying, මුන්ට කරන්න බෑ CV එකට. I'm sorry that it didn't go to that extent to say CBK with all these pockets. Right? I'm not saying we did not work with the heart. I did not say we are not working with the heart. But that's how people connect to us. The people say the CB has failed. That's what most of the people think. And most of the people think that we are not allowing solar electricity to come to the grid. Yesterday, I saw another one. There was an ex-minister of CB of energy as well. It just came to me yesterday, where somebody was going on and on and on, saying, see, you have solar, you're not using that. I'm an electric engineer. I was the general manager CB. I am the one who brought in the very first solar panel to be sold in Sri Lanka in 1983, maybe way before most of you are born. I am the one who put the 3 megawatt wind plant. So if we are not for renewable energy, who is for renewable energy? CB engineers are really working very hard to incorporate renewable energy into our grid. But the people's perception is different. So I think in a way, we have not connected up with the people. So mind is there. We are doing a brilliant work, I would say, in CB. But maybe we have done quite a lot, but there are something that we are not connected up with the people, the aspirations. They think we are doing something stupid. I'm bringing out very hard, harsh reality. Of course, if you don't agree, please, 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 please stop me and give a different perspective what I'm saying. I know that a lot of people are doing this, trying to explain to people why we cannot go 100% renewable and this kind of thing. But of course, that's it. I'm not going to go anything more than that. And resolution, come on. You may have the knowledge and this is exactly what has to be done. But if you are not resolved to do that yourself, my dear friends, sons and daughters, maybe you will have to be my sons and daughters, most of them, few. Maybe you say nieces. Maybe few of you are my sisters and brothers. If you are not resolved to do the work, no matter what, then nothing is important. Unless you do that, if you have this, nothing is impossible. I'm going to show you some examples, right? You must have absolute firm resolution, come hell or high water. I know this is the right thing to do. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to prove that I have done it. That's why I say I'm going to blow my own trumpet. Please bear with me. Please bear with me if I'm blowing my own trumpet. You must have the resolution. You feel that in a moment. Nothing is impossible. I do believe in this. Watch these 2 videos. And tell me if the sound level is not enough and if the, okay? It's just enough noise, I think. So let's see. Okay, let's see. Do you hear? Do you hear?
Hi guys, welcome to America's Got Talent.
Do you hear the sound?
Thank you very much. Tell us a little bit about
Hello?
yourselves.
My name yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
And my name is Vard. I'm 26 years old, and she is
96. Wow. And you're going to be doing the act together. This is your...
Yes, we're going to do ballroom dancing together.
How did you meet each other?
Tinder.
So I was teaching one of my mambo classes, and she just walked in to the studio, and from that day we've been dancing together for 6 years.
Oh wow. And you think that this is $1 million act?
She's right next to me.
Oh, that's so nice. Okay, go for it. Enjoy yourselves.
Thank
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. 96.
you. 96 years.
Fireball.
Pretty amazing.
I got to say something. I'm very inspired. Seeing a 96-year-old dancing with somebody 70 years younger is just too mind-blowing for words. I love it. I love it. It's an inspiration.
Thank you.
That's what it's all about.
Howie, how old are you?
I'm again 60 this year. So my dance partner has not been born yet.
Would America like them, Howie? Do you think they will?
Oh, I don't think America will like them. I think America will love them. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have to say, that was inspiring.
Plus that she has 3 hip replacements.
Wow.
Wow.
3 hip replacements?
I don't let anything get the better of me.
No, you don't.
You're amazing.
Good for you.
You don't see this anywhere else on television.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have to say yes, it was great.
All right, well, you got 4 yeses. We will see you again.
She's skipping in her heels.
It's about entertainment. And
That's not child play or anything. I mean, and yesterday I saw, actually, I was trying to get that also into the video today. 100-year-old man in Europe doing a 100-meter dash. Of course, he came in a group of 8, he came about 6th. And the 100 meters are done by this man, 100-year-old guy, in 26 seconds. I don't think I can do it in 26 seconds, 100 meters, a sprint, dash. So nothing is impossible. This happened really recently. This lady is still living, I think, he's now what, 99 years or something. And he's the longest living yoga instructor in America. Let me try to see a little bit of research on this. Are you stunned? Are you stunned? Watch this and guess who is there in the picture. Perhaps you can guess who that guy is. That guy was 63 years old when he did that. I'm not saying that was a great feat, because on the other hand, it was I who did that, It's the resolution to go up there and climb down. I know that it was safe, right? But the problem was 2 weeks before that event in 2017 or 18, is a day, 2 weeks before that, a school principal, I'm sure you, a lady, died falling doing that. Okay, it was my resolution that I did that. Okay, and until I went up those 8 floors, it was about, now I heard about 80 feet on top, it was 8 floors. the girls and some of the girls and boys who were in the group did not want to climb. In fact, one girl climbed up and she cried and came down the stairs. After I did that, many of the women said, if he can do, why can't we do it? They climbed up. So it's that resolution that I did it, right? Of course, thereafter I did so many stunts. I climbed a huge tree and came down on a sling and splashed onto a lake. This in Kudawai, right? I'm sure some of you would have done these things. Now, so this is what I said: mind, heart, and resolution will take you anywhere. Let's watch this. I'm sure you have heard about Lee Kuan Yew, but watch this. The resolution, the firmness.
I can tell you that when I met the SIA pilots, I didn't meet them on TV. I met them face to face. So 5 feet across the table so they can see me and see whether I'm still vigorous, able to campaign and take them on, whether it's worth taking me on. And I offered them 2 choices. Either you argue, you stop this intimidation, which is what it was, bringing SIA right down, disrupting services, ruining its reputation, millions of dollars worth of advertisements and sales ruined within a matter of 2 weeks. I gave them a choice. Continue this, and I will, by every means at my disposal, teach you and get the people of Singapore, help me teach you a lesson you won't forget. And I'm prepared to start all over again. Or stop it. Get back to work, restore discipline, then argue your case. Took them 65 minutes. And they decided, okay, it isn't worth the fight. Why? Because they know they'll lose. They know that I'm prepared to ground the airline. They know that I can get the airline going again without them. And let there be no mistakes about this. Whoever governs Singapore must have that iron in him, or give it up. This is not a game of cards. This is your life and mine. I've spent a whole lifetime building this. And as long as I'm in charge, nobody's going to knock it down.
What do you think about that guy? I'm sure most of you may have watched his and read about Lee Kuan Yew. But it shows his character, this particular video clip of Lee Kuan Yew. Of course, there have been many stories, bad stories about him, people being put to jail, put into dungeons, and even harassing. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what harassing, but a lot of bad stories about Lee Kuan Yew at that time. And Singapore, so this happened after Singapore was thrown out of the Malayan Federation in 1965, not so long ago. I mean, our country is much, much older than that. After independence, I'm talking about. Right? That's why people are shouting that for 74 years, what have we achieved? Right? Singapore is a much younger country. And recently I was watching another video which said about the progress in Dubai, which was only 40 years or 50 years. How they have built up Dubai. In his own words, Singapore was a swamp, mud hole, a fishing village. There was only a fishing harbor there in Singapore. There were some pictures. I will not go to take your time and show those things. Singapore was full of gangsters. He said he had few millions of people to account for. What can we learn from this man? This is the person who is supposed to have said in 1965 or so I will make Singapore like Ceylon. Our country was only second to Japan when we got independence. Where is Singapore? Where is Sri Lanka? Don't look at other person. Don't look at the politicians. What have we as a nation achieved? Think. It's a good time for you to think. I would say he was a man of immense courage, who never looked back on his mission, firm of his conviction, resolution, stayed focused, stayed away from, this is very important, stayed away from all those who did not fall in line with the commitment to rebuild the nation. I think you have wonderful Buddhist stanza. What is that? Asevanacha Balana. Panditanancha Sevana. Is it? I'm not a Buddhist, so please pardon me if I have not said the correct way. Don't associate with people who are negative. Don't associate people who don't know. Don't be an inspiration to others. You are educated guys, man. Come on. Did not serve everyone with the same spoon. He is very notorious for this, not to serve everyone with the same spoon. There are stories that, when his own friends, he has put them in jail for wrongdoing. There's a guy who returned, one of his very close friends, who went overseas with a businessman, and at the airport when he returned, he was arrested and put into jail. There is also a saying that if you try to please everyone, you will end up pleasing no one. My dear friends, I firmly believe in this. As engineers, there's nothing called pleasing everyone. You know what happens? If you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one. You end up pleasing no one. Be assured of that. I'm telling you with my experience. What will happen if you try to treat everyone with the equal measure? You often hear people say, Mama Hamilton with that neck of a hand. The show the Hamilton pick up hand in Meduting him. Alai Varumkum Ire, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Alai Varukum Ore Karandial Sevai Sekire. Alayvarakum Ore Karandial Sevai Sekire. I serve everyone the same spoon. Nonsense. Nonsense. You can't serve everyone with the same spoon. You see what happens. Let's say these are three different people. You try to serve them with the same spoon. Is that what you said? For this guy, whatever resources you are committing is far too much for him to even absorb. And for some people, it's just right. And for some people, it's not enough. So every person is like that. A leader should understand, as an engineer, you should understand your workmen, your crewmen, your close associates, you have the people in your team, engineers who are working with you. If you want to give a task to a certain person, just make sure that he can do it. Don't put things that he cannot do it, he is not going to perform. And if there are people who are very clever, give them more and more work. Give them to more and more for you. Of course, they'll start coming and say, Sir, matamai okkovada denne. And if you feel like that, my dear friends, if you feel that your boss is giving you the most effort, not others, be happy because the boss assesses your capability. The boss knows that you can do more and more and more. Take the challenge, perform, and show that you are capable of handling all those difficult tasks. Apply yourself. There's a lot to learn from people of this caliber. And my very, 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 very favorite quotes. I keep on talking about this. Albert Einstein. I'm thankful for all those who said no to me. I'm thankful for all those who said no to me. Because of them, I'm doing it myself. Because of them, I'm doing it myself. If somebody is trying to pull you around, if somebody is saying, "Owa karla hariyan nae machang, ohuma karla bae machang," if possible, give them a slap and chase them away. Oka hariyan nae machang, kiyapu kawan gahala parna. That's an interesting story. Okay, I'll tell that later. Okay. How many of you have heard of Upper Kutch Report project? It's a 150 megawatt project. The cost of about 40 billion rupees. The studies commenced in 1992. I was in charge of the studies, blowing my own trumpet. It was stalled due to protests on environmental, social, and political grounds. Right? Finally, actually we got the money to do this in 1994. And we could not do it. Same with Norachole. I negotiated the loan for Norachole in 1999. And on March 20th, 1999, they were just about to sign the agreement for the loan with the Japanese for $380 million. That particular government, this is why I'm saying all our governments have failed miserably. That president at that time, you go and see who that person was, 1999. I'm bold to say this. I'm bold enough to say anywhere. That person stopped the project just 10 days before the loan was to be signed. Because the Japanese ambassador went to tell that president that we are giving you $380 million to do this Norachole power plant, which was the first 300 megawatts, plus the infrastructure for all 900 megawatts, $380 million. What did we do? We chased them away, Japanese. It was supposed to be a gilt-edged project. And actually, I went and saw the power plant that would have come here. It's Isogoro. You just plug it and see. At one time, that BBC termed as the best coal power plant in the world. We would have got that kind of technology in 1999. They were chased away. And later on, in 1996, we signed a loan from the government of China for $495, right? $450 million to do just the 300 megawatt coal power plant. Not even the infrastructure for the other two plants. Who has bungled this country? Who has bungled this country? I still feel sad that we did not revolt against the cancellation. Of course, we were helpless at that time. It was stalled due to protests on environmental and socio-political grounds. Finally commenced in 2006 and completed 2000. I'm talking about the Upper Kutch, right? Coming back to Upper Kutch. Then we got the money in 2002 to do Upper Kutch. And it commenced in 2006. Once again, 2002, 2006, we had to face all the music from the politicians and everybody around, including engineers, men. Some engineers were pulling the legs from behind. Right? It's on record. I'm not afraid to speak about these people, rascals, engineers, who pull the rug under me. It's one of the most unethical things on earth. Senior engineers. Just time I'll tell you what happened. Right? Why did I do Upper Kutch Hydropower project? And how did I do it? My guiding light was a quotation from the Bible. If you know what is right to do and not doing, it is a sin. And you doing Upper Kutch Hydropower project was the right thing to do, and I did not want to be a sinner. So I had the firm resolve to do it. So I did it, notwithstanding any obstacle, any impediment. No one believed that I will do it with so much opposition. But I did it. I did it. I did it. It's now 10 years after commissioning. Some even wished that I failed, as I told you. Even in some of the engineers in my own organization wished that I will fail. They went around saying, "Savya kawadakat ok karanne." Savya kawadakat ok karanne in the canteen. Karla Penmo. All of you have the same making to do things that are you seem to be impossible. You may seem to see that some of the things are impossible to do, but you can do it. Mind, heart, and resolve. How do I do it? Because everyone said I will not do it. I did it myself. I stayed focused and was not swayed by the noise around. There were many decisions by the cabinet to do it and not to do it. In fact, I had about 14 engineers when I started the project in 2002. And from 2002 to 2006, I had terrible issues. The project was almost to be scrapped. And there were many decisions of the cabinet to scrap it, stop it, scrap it. Then somehow we fought back with the cabinet, the government. And there were times that when in the morning, all the engineers come to my room and say, "Sir, අපිට මොකද වෙන්නේ? ඊයේ decision එක කරාම මේක නවත්තන්න. මොකද අපිට වෙන්නේ?" I kept on saying, "No, we are going to do it. No, we are going to do it. Don't listen to anything. We are going to do it." The last decision was to rescind all previous decisions to do it. If you want, you can check the meaning of rescind. The last decision of the cabinet on this project is to say, all the previous decisions are invalid, which means there's no decision to go ahead with the project. There's no decision to go ahead with this project by the cabinet of ministers. I ignored it. When the decision came, I just filed it. I'm still surviving. If you are angry with me, go and put a court case, say that I did it without the cabinet decision. I'm prepared to face the mistake. I had faith in God. The person who wrote the cabinet decision was my greatest supporter. I'm not talking about politicians. Please don't talk of politicians. He's not a politician. The person who wrote the cabinet decision was my greatest supporter later. And he told me all the stories, how even my own organization, there were people who said, went and told, carried tapes and said, Shavi is not going to do it, it's correct. So, I mean, they're not going to have it. This project is totally wrong. I know them. I know them. I thank my upper corporate staff as a team who had faith only in me. My entire staff had only faith in me. Now I turn to engineering. What is engineering? Who is an engineer? Just give me a child, try to ask them to sort of reduce their noise. Try to understand that, you know, my wife is must be worried about what's happening over there. That's my second daughter is there, and my nephews and nieces are there, so obviously she's worried, right? Okay, my son-in-law came the last train, I was told, from Colombo. So, okay, are you prepared to face the challenges of engineering education? Okay, what is engineering? Who is an engineer? And this I'm going to talk now. What do you expect? What do you expect to do as an engineer? Are you prepared to face the challenges of engineering education, gain experience, and become a fully qualified professional engineer? This is the time for you to unmute your mic and say yes or no. Everybody unmute your mic. Everybody, unmute your mics. Are you prepared to? I want an answer. Everybody unmute your mics. Everybody. Are you prepared to face the challenges of engineering education, gain experience, and become a fully qualified professional engineer? Are you guys?
Yes.
I need to hear it loud and voice. I need to hear it loud.
Yes, sir.
Are you?
Yes,
Are you?
sir.
Are you?
Yes.
Are you? see one or two guys muted.
Yes.
I see you
Yes.
two guys muted.
Yes, yes.
The guys who are muted, you can see it on your screen. They are not prepared. Hold them responsible. Hold them responsible. Right? Some of your friends may be there. If they are not prepared to face a challenge, you know who they are. This country is because of them. This situation. If you chose to do engineering, Jolly will do engineering. You can shout kaputu kakak, no issue. I'm not going to have any problem with you. But do your job properly. We are very good as Sri Lankans, telling others how they should be doing their job. We know how the doctor should treat patients. We all know that. We know that how accountants should do their accounts. We know that. And we know how they should go to IMF and economics should run the country. We know that. We know about everything about other people's jobs. We don't do our job. Every professional in this country is like that. Because for whatever godforsaken reason, we Sri Lankans got into this rut because we are trying to do other people's jobs, not doing our job properly. Not doing our job properly. So now you can mute your mics again, right? I still hear some noises coming up. Now you don't have to apologize to me. I am the one who asked you to unmute. So there are two guys. Please, okay, thank you. I see one guy. Yeah, okay. I see one more person. Ukmal, Varma. Yeah, okay, everybody's muted. Thank you. When I ask you to be unmute, please unmute, right? Okay. Okay, let me tell a small story. Perhaps most of you have heard this story before. I beg your pardon for repeating it again and again. And it's important to understand engineering. There's a man by the name Herbert Clark Hoover, an American. Right? So this young American one day was traveling in a steamer from London to New York. And he was occupying first class cabin those days, in the medieval times. And only first class people who are first class, categorized as first class, are generally allowed to travel in first class cabins. So there was another lady also traveling in the first class cabins, in the same cabin, right? Come on. And he was also occupying huge, maybe spacious first class cabin. And they were and in those days, the steamer means coal-fired steam engine that propelled the ship from London to New York. It took about 2 months to cross the Atlantic those days. So these 2 months, they would have met each other and had exchanged pleasantries. They would have been having dining together, wining together, dancing together, chatting all the way and playing games together. So at the last day, they sat down for the breakfast. They were well documented, right? It's a true story. And they were sitting on the deck, overlooking the New York harbor. And they knew that very soon they'd have to part their ways. And she's an English lady and this guy is an American man. They sat down for the breakfast, and in the end, she was itching to ask a question from this guy. And those days, they used this very high-flown English language. I hope you will forgive my dreadful curiosity, but I should like to awfully to know. What? Anybody? I should like to awfully know. What is your profession? Simple question. Probably I know what could have been going on in your mind. The young lady would ask, are you married? No, she asked, what is your profession? See, the mentality of the first class ladies. And he said, I'm an engineer. Sorry, the party is I'm an engineer. And immediately the face of this lady fell. And the skirt she was wearing, the huge skirt, you know, that's why these English ladies wore very huge skirts, so that commoners could not get anywhere near the first class ladies. And even if they got near and on to shake hands, They'll only touch the tips of the fingers, right? And she snapped back and said, "Oh, I thought you are a gentleman. I thought you are a gentleman." I modified this slide, but it's not come here. "I thought you are a gentleman." Gentleman? Engineer? He was not a gentleman? Why? Those days, engineers were smelling of sweat and grease and all kinds of slime and everything. Wore overalls, had dirty hands. They were rough people, they were tough people. They spoke often in filth and had bad mannerisms, not recognized in society. I wish I could have given a picture of some of those CB engineers when we joined in 1970. I joined CB in 1979. And even at that time, we had these old engineers who were wearing shorts, stockings, brown shoes, pipe in one hand, and a bastram in the other hand. You know the bastram? I mean, people think bastram is just to help him to walk. No. And some of these people are working in very difficult places. And they keep that bastram, even like those days, the planters, they keep the bastram for some other reason, not because they can't walk. To hit people, laborers. You do that now, see what will happen to you. So nobody liked engineers. They're very bad mannerisms. And that few people I'm talking about, they could only speak in filth. The best word that they use perhaps is Yako, right? And bad mannerisms not recognized in society, right? But now, engineers are well recognized in society. We have clean hands, we wear perfume, we have very, very good mannerisms. The society look up to us. I'm sure young engineers didn't have any problem finding a partner if you have not found your own partner by yourself, right? But do we live up to that expectation of the society? Do we live up to that expectation in society? Sometimes not. Don't we hear people of saying, "Amu horek." Bayane karge, "Amu hora." Wara project me chal gaya hua, me project me chal gaya hua. I hear about these people. I know their names. If you ask me, I'll give you, privately you ask me, I'll give you the names. These are people who are spoken like that about engineers. Aren't they ashamed to our profession? Incidentally, this Herbert Clark Hoover is the only president of the USA who was an engineer. Right. Now, let's get on to who is an engineer. But that's my job today, to explain to you. An engineer is a professional practitioner of engineering, concerned with applying scientific knowledge, mathematics, and ingenuity to develop solutions for technical problems. Engineers design materials, structures, machines, and systems while considering the limitations imposed by practicality, safety, and cost. The word engineer is derived from the Latin root ingenium, meaning cleverness. Are you guys clever? Are you guys clever? Anybody can shout and say, "Yes, I'm clever." Are you guys clever? Yes or no? Are you guys clever? You're free to speak, right? Talk back. Are you guys clever? I want you. How can I say you guys are clever if you can't even say that I'm clever? Come on. Are you guys clever? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Only few people are saying yes. I'm happy about those guys who say yes. At least those guys, I'm going to give them a show. I'm going to ask them to do something. You unmute your mic and pat your back loudly for me to hear. If you guys are clever, pat your backs. Come on, pat your backs. Anything දියාරු එච්ච ඉංජිනේරු ඉන්නේ මෙතන. ඇත්තද? දියාරුලාද?
නෑ.
අන්නේම කතා කරන්න. එකයි දෙන්නයි ඉන්නේ නෑ කියන්නේ. You guys are clever man. Don't underestimate yourself. You are the cream of the society. I know at least if you have done your A-level and gone to get a degree in engineering. Where it may be, I'm not worried. Only clever people can do engineering. I'm not saying others are not clever, but for you to become an engineer, you have to be very clever. I'm not once again saying you guys are the superior. There can be other people who are much more superior than you guys or us, but we should be happy about our profession, right? And there are 3 key words: scientific knowledge, mathematics, and ingenuity. You must be, everything that you do, my dear friends, must be based on science, scientific knowledge. Our language is science and mathematics. There's no other language for us. Science and mathematics. If your decisions are not scientific, if you try to attempt problems without your mathematics, let me tell you are going to fail. I would tell you straight away. You're hearing this from a grandfather, perhaps, an uncle of yours, good enough to be your parents. You are going to fail if you cannot base your decisions based on science and mathematics, and not mathematics, of course, backed up by experience and using your cleverness to find solutions. You are going to be a failure. I'm sure none of you want to be a failure. That was a small story. I'll tell you now that particular story. When I was doing Upper College, there was a big seminar. I had tremendous problems, right? I was taken to every university, every place, and I was grilled. So there was a seminar organized in University of Peradeniya. I must tell you very frankly, University of Peradeniya. Of course, not the engineering faculty. To corner me, and the decision was for everyone to shout and say, "We don't want the project." And I was there with my team, and it was mainly I who spoke. And they got the news that in Colombo that they are trying to pass a resolution to stop the project. So in fact, the additional secretary at that time also came to strengthen me morally of the ministry, right? I battered for 3.5 hours or 4 hours. I don't know how many long. And I opened up for discussion, the forum for discussion. A lot of questions came. I kept on answering. Then there was a guy who shut up and said, "I don't believe anything what you said. There is no water in the Kotmala well." I said, "What? There's no water? How do you know? You are in Colombo. You are talking in Colombo, from Colombo. I live in Kotmale. I know there's no water in Kotmala well." And he said, "So? Yes, I know. You don't know." This guy was a young fellow. I casually asked, "From which faculty are you?" Yeah, if it is from the sociology or art, I can say, "Okay, Kuta, you are right." Then he said, "I'm from the engineering faculty." I said, "Which year are you?" "I'm in the second year." You know the guys, right? In second year engineering faculty. Then Namuntakalawe. And there were about 5 or 6 fellows. Then I said, "Okay, son, I don't want to open this discussion. Maybe you're right. I want to speak to you after this seminar." So after the seminar, 5 or 6 fellows came and surrounded me, really almost like, trying to hit me, like, full of fire. I asked, "Kuta, how do you know that, there's no water?" "I know, sir. Madhanna." "Sir, then that is not." I said, "You will be correct. But I am in so many years of experience as an engineer. You are an engineering graduate. You are only the second year. Do you know that you should never make these kind of statements without properly analyze the flow rates? We are making these statements after taking the 40 years of rainfall and stream flow data from the irrigation department. This is not CB data. By that time, he was getting cooled down. Do you know about 5 years ago, at one of those graduation ceremonies, he came running to me and said, "Sir, can you remember me?" I said, "No." I not tell the name, right? He said, "Can you remember the day that you had a seminar in Peradil?" I said, "Yes." "I'm the guy who raised this question about Appapakkale. I'm sorry, sir. I was wrong. And the day that you gave me that lesson, I'll never forget, sir." So, my dear friends, never speak out of turn. If you do not know something, don't pretend that you know as engineers, because the people believe you. So, these are big mistakes that engineers do. If someone asks, "I mean, you don't know, El Nino, El Nino. You don't even know what El Nino is." Don't make unnecessary statements like engineers, because the people believe you as engineers. Base everything on scientific knowledge. Base every conclusion on derived results. Everything must be fact-based for engineers. Nothing short of that. Of course, you must use your cleverness. Engineers are grounded in applied science, and their work in research and development is distinct from the basic research focus of scientists. The work of engineers form the link between scientific discoveries and the application that meet the needs of society. I am doing a lot of teaching, and sometimes I teach this, tell these students, forget about the students of engineering. When I was working in a particular organization, I'm not Stone Institute, right? There was somebody came with a technical paper, and which he had already presented in one of the prestigious universities in Sri Lanka. I'm also not going to tell the name of the university, at a scientific forum, engineering forum. And this particular man was designing a kiln to dry clay tiles. And he brought me his technical paper to prove that his design is right. I looked at the technical paper. I wish I can show that paper to you. He has put some moisture content of the wet clay before it goes to the kiln. Now hold your breath. This fellow has a doctorate in engineering, okay? He has a doctorate in engineering, PhD. Scientific paper. Hold your breath. His moisture content before going to the dryer or some figure with 12 decimal places. 12 decimal places. I got shocked. I asked, "Was this paper accepted for publication?" He said, "Yes, sir, it was published in here and there." I said, "I must speak to the people who published this paper." In an engineering research paper, having 12 decimal places has a percentage, which is 14 decimal places. Can you beat it? I asked him what do you mean by these 14 decimal places? In an engineering paper, research paper. So I got it from the computer. I said, "Are you such a fool to publish like this? And those people who peer reviewed your paper, are they so foolish to accept this kind of paper for publication?" For us engineers, the decimal places have some significance. So even I see later on while marking papers, sometimes they put 6 decimal places. So now I have cautioned all my students, now they don't put 6 decimal places. Okay, now you have calculators now. Use the calculator. Now these fellows have used a finite element method or whatever element, and then got 12, 14 decimal places. And he just published that. Crazy. You know, the problem is when you talk like that, people judge you. So don't allow you to be judged as a person who doesn't know your nuts and bolts. Therefore, the central focus of engineering profession is the application of scientific knowledge. You must have scientific knowledge, and that meet the needs of society. Societal needs and science. So the engineering is this particular bit, intersection. You can do lot of work that meets the needs of society. But if you don't not if you're not grounded in scientific knowledge, you're not an engineer. Please remember that. You may have enough scientific knowledge. If you're not doing work for the society to meet the societal needs, you are not an engineer. You must do all this together. That's why I told you, engineers are not hermits. Hermits. Engineers are not hermits. If somebody still not muted, I can also once again bring something from an example. So once again, in this my project, I can't say no. A road was being designed. The access road to the power station, right? And it was going through some few houses. And when I saw the thing, and immediately somebody came and alerted me, sir, making Geval Hathra Park Kadino. Now it's a completely jungle area, okay? So I got suspicious. I called this engineer, he's supposed to be a senior engineer. And he was not willing to change the trace. And in a place where, you know, people were against the person. Like, come on. These are totally barren, I mean, complete jungle area. Of course, there are a few houses. Some of the houses are very old houses, ancestral houses. Are you trying to break these houses? I asked that fellow, have you heard the singer saying, Kumbalatta Ugege Maligawa? You know Kumbala? Who builds with mud on your windowsills and all those places. Kumbalatta Ugege Maligawa. Yes, I visited some of those houses. They were very dilapidated houses, but you know, one person had a deed which was going to 1700s in that area. And he showed me a big thing that has been framed in that house and said, in his house, he was the Gamudana and his grandson or great grandson, where he has been given by the king to hear cases in that place, in that house. This fellow was trying to break that house. What an idiot that engineer is. What an idiot that engineer is. So with a lot of resistance from that fellow, I retraced the road. So engineers have to be not having only scientific knowledge. They should be sensitive to people's needs as well. On the other hand, we are ordinary people, man. We are general human beings. So we have a lot of creativity, just some of us. And there are a lot of analytical skills. That's why you came to do engineering. If you're not good in analysis, you don't generally come to do engineering. And some of you may be having very good creative skills. So this is our nature. This is in our character. Some of you may have good of both. So on the other hand, engineers may pursue creative efforts. So you may sharpen your creative skills as engineers. Some of you may be sharpening your analytical skills. We require both kinds of engineers in this country. We require both kinds of engineers in this country. So, for example, as engineers apply commercial software to solutions of an engineering problem, the application of analytical skills per se may involve little or no creativity. You put in figures and you get out figures. No creativity. Perhaps very little creativity. On the other hand, engineers may design ergonomic office spaces with very little analytical skills. Of course, there should be analysis. I'm not saying no. But to design an ergonomic office space, if you don't know the meaning of ergonomics, it's designed for maximum comfort, efficiency, safety, and ease of use, especially in the workplace. Right? Sorry to say, once again, from taking an example from my own project. There are designs done by some people where there was say that people had to climb in most of the areas this way, the hill country, to one house, another house. And there was a design brought to me with 2 stairways for 2 houses. I just had a look at it. I simply asked that engineer, why can't you put 1 stairway and branch it off to the 2 houses? I said, no. Can I have another look? He was ashamed. He came back and said, good one, sir. Right? People are not creative sometimes. So once you have a set plan in your head, you try to implement it everywhere. You try to implement it everywhere. Be creative. Use your creative skills to the maximum. And of course, analysis cannot be replaced. Hence, let us now look at engineering from these 3 perspectives. Right? So some of us may be highly analytical or maybe highly creative, but still we have to have that engineering knowledge, scientific knowledge. Otherwise, you're not engineers, and some of you may be having both creativity and analytical skills. I'm trying to speed up. What can I know what is the time there? It's what 8 o'clock or something, is it? Hello? Hello? Is it 8 o'clock?
8:06, sir.
Yeah, yeah. So is it okay? It's okay. I go on for another half an hour, even 45 minutes. Is it all right?
Yes, yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Because you are at home, and so let's go on, right? I started late,
Yes,
so
sure.
please excuse me for that. Yeah. So okay, 3 aspects of engineering. Sector A engineer, this one represents the intersection of purely analytical talents with engineering domain. Within the engineering domain, okay, this may be used to represent engineering science and ability to model complex systems and predict their responses to various inputs under various conditions. This segment of engineering has, of course, been the subject of intense development over the last half century and has benefited most greatly from the availability of fast digital computers. When I was studying as an engineering student, we had a computer created by the IBM, called IBM 1130. It was about quarter of a size of a room. The computer. And the programs, we had to punch it on a punch card and give the card pack. The pack may be about 6 inches to 1 foot tall. And when you give that, they'll give the results only the next day. And it may say just 1 line, syntax error. Take up the bundle of cards, check where the problem is, and resubmit again. So recently, I was chairman, as I said, at Net Center, and there was a guy who was studying the stresses and strains of a brick building using finite element analysis. I'm sure there are a lot of civil engineers here. So I called this guy and asked him, pardon my lack of knowledge of history. I think it's Jethavanarame or Tuparame. Is supposed to have the tallest brick building ever to be built in the world. Am I right or wrong? I don't know. This is what I've been told by civil engineers. I think they have a small model in the ISL. As you go along, you can see that. Maybe Jethavanarame or Tuparame or I don't know what it was. Please correct me if I'm wrong. If you can help me with that knowledge, please help me. I'll be very happy.
It's Jethavanarame.
Right? Jethavanarame.
Yeah.
Right? You are 100% sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Yesterday, earlier I was telling Tuparame, but it's Jethavanarame. Right?
Yes.
So they had the tallest brick building. So I asked him, how long it would have taken for our engineers of the past to build Jethavanarame? So he said maybe of 40 years. I think it's on record for 40 years. I asked him, now for you to analyze all the stresses and strains that brick structure, how long it will take with your computer model? He said, it's very difficult to say, sir. It might take a maximum or minimum, I don't know, and he said, at least about 4 hours. So that is the only difference. We are talking of Yodalas, and you are talking of the Egyptian pyramids. There's an amazing story about one of those pyramids. That every measurement in those pyramids, which are built something like thousands of years ago in Egypt, had a certain cardinal number that represents the dimension of the earth. Do you know that? Had a cardinal number that was representative of the dimension of the earth. There's the diameter, the circumference, the top to bottom, everything. And they say they had some divine knowledge. I don't know about that. I'm not competent to say yes or no. And I shall not say yes or no either. But our people have built so those structures, we can see them. The only difference is they were also engineers. Why? How can those structures stand for so long? Thousands of years, even in Sri Lanka. Right? So, they are engineers. The only difference is we are doing it in a super fast speed. Sector C, these creative guys. The intersection of our creative capacity with engineering domain can be viewed as representing those sudden intuitive leaps, often responsible for revolutionary advances in technological significant novelty, as well as those aspects of engineering not yet fully supported by engineering science that remain more an art than a science. I'm sure you have been working in teams. Sometimes you grapple with a problem that you think is impossible to solve. මේක කරත් හරියන්නේ නැහැ මචං අර කරත් හරියන්නේ නැහැ මෙහෙම කරත් හරියන්නේ නැහැ අරක දික් කරත් හරියන්නේ නැහැ අඩු කරත් හරියන්නේ නැහැ උස් කරත් හරියන්නේ නැහැ පාත් කරත් හරියන්නේ නැහැ. So sometimes you get fed up and you say okay මචං ඇති අදට ඇති. Yes, went a good rest. So sometimes next day, we all get wonderful ideas when we bathe in the night, in the morning, take a shower. So suddenly one fellow gets the idea, this is the way to solve Macha. And now he's right. So you're waiting to get to the office to say, Machang, I found a solution. How do you find that, Machang? Now don't ask me, right? How you found it. I somehow found it, Machang, and let's do it. And when you do the analysis, it's spot on. It's the creative self in you that keeps on working. And you get a solution. I made it extremely simplified. I'm sure some of you have come across this intuitive leaps. But once again, firmly grounded in engineering science. But of course, you may not be able to give a direct solution immediately. But when these are the character, these are the guys, these are the traits that you must further and go into research and find out, how did I come across that solution? Go deep dive, deep dive, deep dive. Don't give up. Some of you guys are very good in research. Don't stop taking the solution and be happy with that. Try to find out why. Right? Then the B, the intersection of knowledge and need with both creative and analytical capacity can be used to represent engine design and much real-world problem solving. This sector includes activities ranging from developing innovative products and processes to creating an innovative bridge design to develop a new control process for petrol production or something. Actually, if you have been to Japan, Tokyo, there's a river cruise. I don't know what the river is. I've taken that river cruise. If you go on that river cruise, there are about 38 or 39 different bridges. Each bridge looks different to one another. And they call it the Museum of Bridges. But all of them can carry the same load. Isn't that the case now? Those days, but if you remember when you were small, maybe 20, 25 years ago, all the buildings look only boxes, right? Now you see nice buildings coming, Krish or something. And the Pittu Bamboo, when they came up long years ago, 30 years ago, it was a novelty. We call them the Pittu Bambu. That is the back of Iran building. Then it came very hard on the World Trade Center. The biggest building of those days was the 6th floor tall. That is the tallest building, Akasakari, the Selinko building, when we were small. But now see the fanciful designs that are coming out, right? And those are important aspects. So what about other sectors in above figure? Sector 1, the intersection of analytical skills with societal needs outside the bounds of scientific knowledge might include economics and philosophy. The greatest philosopher known in the history is Lord Buddha. So he had analytical skills that meet the needs of society. But can you say that he studied physics in a university? Can you say he studied mathematics in a university? So probably we may not see a mathematical or scientific relationship to his philosophy. But it was spot on. It made the people follow that in millions and emancipate themselves. So it definitely made the needs of society with philosophy, economics. Sector 3 may be completely art, right? And when you go down that green path next to the Victoria Park, I don't know if it's possible now, on a weekend, see the amount of arts that are being displayed on the side of the roads. Don't we want them in our society? We want them in our society to make our lives colorful. Don't we buy some of those arts? Don't we buy some ornaments when we go out of the country to decorate our houses? We are not dumb people to forget art, right? We love them. So they must be there in the society. Don't look down on them. The serious skills, right? Sector 2 is where this one may be used to represent those societal needs outside the bounds of scientific knowledge that require both analytical and creative skills, perhaps including public policy, business administration, and music, right? So music also meets the needs of society. I'm not going to go into detail. Engineers cannot ignore the above very real issues in society. So we had to work hand in hand with all these people. Engineers are creative problem solvers. Do I need to say anything more? I'm sure you are now thinking of this, of the glass, right? Some of you maybe, perhaps. Right. Now, my dear friends, there's a whole lot of definitions. I'll try to go very fast because this thing up is real time, right time to absorb a lot of theory. I'll give you 3 basic definitions of engineering. I'm going to load you with a lot of presentation material. My kind advice is to go through these slides very carefully. I laid the foundation for you. I'll give you my email address. If you have any query that is really bothering you to understand what I'm saying theoretically, I'm going to take it to theoretical course. Please send me an email. I'll definitely answer them. Now, the ABET, the Accreditation Board of Engineering and Technology. Some of you may have come across this organization because I know that some of your degrees, when they want to get it certified that it's an accredited degree, I have seen them because I have gone through your applications for PR for review, and they bring this certificate from ABET, especially those guys who have done a degree outside Sri Lanka. They issue these certificates of accreditation of engineering degrees. It's called ABET, the Accreditation Board of Engineering and Technology. It's based in USA. Now, I have met them personally at various meetings, and they boast the huge organization. They say one of the largest organization dedicated to engineering in the world. And they say 24/7, 365, somewhere on the globe, they are either creating an engine course, they're training the creators, or doing something on the creation of engineering. So that means as long as the earth revolves, they're working. Right on the globe, not necessarily in the USA. So whatever they say should be authentic. They have identified engineering as that profession in which knowledge of mathematical and natural sciences, science of gravitation, tension, stresses, strains, compression, everything, forces of nature, and natural sciences. Sorry. I jumped the lines. Mathematical and natural sciences. Natural sciences, So physics is not an alien science. Physics is not coming from extraterrestrial beings. Chemistry, we know. Mathematics and natural sciences gained by study, experience, and practice. Study is not enough. Experience is not enough. Practice is also required. Is applied with judgment to develop ways to utilize economically. Anybody can. You ask the Basu to do a design a house for you. You're sunk. He'll tell you either over design or under design. That's why you must get an engineer to do a design. Economically, they're good in optimizing. Engineers are good in optimizing the resources. Economically, the materials and forces of nature for the benefit of mankind. As we know that if you have a voltage here and voltage there, and if the voltage here is higher than the other one, and to overcome the resistors and inductors and capacitors, it doesn't flow. Current will not flow. Current will flow in the wrong way. And as civil engineers, you know that if you make a small problem, a small miscalculation on the bearing strength of the soil, the building will collapse. And increase has started happening in Sri Lanka. Not good. For the benefit of mankind. Keywords for the benefit of mankind. So these are I keep on telling engineers, if you are not dedicated to do something for the benefit of mankind, forget engineering. Even now it's not too late for you to give up engineering. I know few of our engineers have gone into ropes. I'm not saying they are not bad. They are looking after their own emancipation. So if you think that you're not prepared to do something for the mankind, that is where your place is. Take your clothes off and get into a robe and go and meditate. I'm not going to pass judgment on you. You are doing something great for yourself. Please do that. If you want to practice engineering, be prepared to work for the benefit of mankind. No one else. For the benefit of mankind. Now, that's another large organization called International Engineering Alliance. IESL is a full signatory of the IAEA from 2007 or so. We are one of the very few countries that are there. The entire IEA is composed of about not more than 30 engineering institutions, and IESL is one of those. I have very strict guidelines to make you become full signatory of the IEA. If you are not within that qualified to do so, you will not be admitted. I know there are countries, most of the countries in Europe are not fully recognized by the IEA. It's a very few countries, right? If you don't believe me, go and look at it. Look at their website. So this is also very prestigious organization, IEA. We are one of them. We are in their fold. IESL is full signatory of the IEA, is a full signatory of the Washington Accord, and I had the good fortune to go to Wellington in 2014. June 14, we were admitted as a full signatory of the Washington Accord under my presidency. I'm not saying it was due to my work. I'm saying all the past presidents from 2007 worked very hard for us to get this. If you have any problems about watching record, write to me personally. I'm not going to take time. And I'm going to show you some of those charts, which is very important to understand what watching record is. We are a provisional signatory of Sydney Accord. We are a full signatory of the International Professional Engineers Agreement, which you may be interested in. Right. So the constituent agreements and accords are Washington Accord, Sydney Accord, Dublin Accord, the International Professional Engineers Agreement, International Engineering Technologies Agreement, and APEC, dealing with Asia Pacific Engineers Council, Engineers Agreement. Right? Several accrediting bodies for engineering qualifications have developed outcome-based criteria for evaluating programs. My dear friends, most of you, I'm sure, have passed out on this scheme, outcome-based criteria. When we studied engineering, we were taught engineering. Now, outcome-based criteria in the new engineering programs, they allow you to learn engineering, study engineering by group activities, by allowing you to do projects and various. The method of teaching is different. I'm doing that in many universities now. Outcome-based education. That you have continuous assessment to keep on assessing how your percentages, how your communication skills are, how you analyze certain things by yourself. So when you come out as engineers, you are prepared to face the challenge of engineering. When we passed up engineers long years ago, we were not as smart as you guys, perhaps, because we were just taught by lecturers. We went to your traditional university system. Similarly, a number of engineering regulatory bodies have developed or are in the process of developing competency-based standards for registration. Now, why you are trying to become a chartered engineer is to be assessed on competence, your competence level to be recognized as a registered engineer. And you, I'm sure why you are coming now to get the charter is because of the engineering registration now. I'll come to that later. Educational professional records, accords for mutual recognition of qualification and registration have statements of graduate attributes. You should be having this graduate attributes by now. And professional competency profiles. You should be having the graduate attributes and pass the engineering degree. You should be having professional competency profiles, having worked in various organizations for either 3, 4, 5, 6 years, or even more. You should have now furthered your competencies. The 3 engineering practitioners, now they are talking of 3 engineering practitioners, not only one man. You think we are the only engineering guys. You're mistaken. Of course, we are engineers. But there are 2 other engineering practitioners that you should be aware about at least. You know these guys, but you have never recognized them. The engineer, and they are all putting these in one group, right? They're called engineering practitioners. The engineer, like you and I, the engineering technologists who stand in between the engineering technician, us, engineering technologists, and the engineering technician. Now remember, all like that trombone, how they lifted him while he was playing. We require all of them to help us in our work. Sometimes we forget them. That's not for engineers. What does the International Engineering Alliance say? Is the second definition. Engineering is an activity that is essential to meeting, besides the best definition, and is an activity that is essential to meeting the needs of people, economic development, and the provision of services to society. Engineering involves the purposeful application, not doing mathematics for the sake of doing mathematics as a hobby. No. And it involves the purposeful application of mathematical and natural sciences and a body of engineering knowledge. Where is this body of engineering knowledge? I keep on giving the class now. I can't afford to do that for lack of time, as well as I don't see you guys face to face. The body of engineering knowledge is the repository of all the engineering knowledge gathered over millennia. Our heritage. We are custodians of that engineering knowledge. More recently, coming to contemporary times, the research papers, the annual sessions that we are having. Some of you go and make presentations in other fora, maybe overseas, maybe in Sri Lanka. So my plea to you, my dear friends, publish, publish, publish. If you have done something and if you think there's some merit in publication, don't feel shy to publish. However small you may think that finding is. Maybe somebody finds a key to your publications. Publicize your knowledge. That is where the body of engineering knowledge is. Technology. Without technology, you can't do anything now. And techniques. There are two different things. Technology and techniques. Techniques come with your skill of being very clever, ingenuity. Develop your techniques. So engineering seeks to produce solutions whose effects are predicted to the greatest degree possible in often uncertain contexts. So this is why I was told this by another senior engineer when he went to a private sector company, and he was the process engineer. And so this managing director, he calls for regular meetings, and the process engineers and all kinds of engineers need to go and discuss their problems in the factory and so on and so forth. So this bright young engineer, educated, first class baby, very competent guy, I was told. He went with those days, he said he had a box file, huge cardboard box file, full of all the designs. And he clearly explained this to the managing director. Everybody was stunned. The managing director was not pretty impressed, I heard. And he asked him a simple question. Yes, asked. So what do you say? Is it going to solve our problem? Then he made a cardinal mistake. This managing director was no more than a glorified Mudrari. Of course, very competent businessman. Very competent businessman. He has said, maybe through fear of the managing director, yes, sir, I think it will work. You know what would happen? The file was with him, he said. The box file was with him, he said, the managing director. You know what he has done? He has thrown this box file at him, and he said he broke his glasses. It hit him on his face, the box file. Why? That engineer was not firm of his conviction that this solution is going to work. And the managing director is not going to have any nonsense with that. He asked, is it going to solve my problem? He said, I think, sir. I think, sir. So engineers can't be making us solutions believing it will work. No. If you have a solution, it should work. You can't believe it will work. The gods are not going to come and help you to make it work. It is your desire. So you should be firm in your conviction that it is going to work. And you should be able to predict the outcome of the work. That is what engineering is. And if you had any idea of telling, I think it will work, forget it. The people are not going to be very happy with your answer. So your work, you should be able to predict to the greatest degree possible in often uncertain context. While bringing benefits, any activity has potential adverse consequences, like what I had to face at Apakotmale. It had potential adverse consequences. Engineering therefore must be carried out responsibly That is on work-wise, knowledge-wise, and ethically, heart-wise. In whatever you do, it should be ethical. If I was doing Apakotale, I gave only 3 things to my engineers. Only 3 things. I told them only 3 things. Only 3 things, my dear friends. I say you can do anything you like to get this project going. But you can't do 3 things. What are 3 things? You can't tell a lie. You can't deceive anybody. You should be very honest people. And third thing, you can't kill anybody. It's the name of work. When I say kill, you can't put other people's lives at risk, even health-wise. Only those things. You can ask any of my junior engineers who work with me. Entire Apakotale project was done only on 3 principles. Never tell a lie. If you get caught telling a lie, you'll be sacked immediately, chased out of the project. You can't try to deceive me or deceive anybody. And you have to be 100% ethical. I have many stories to say that, but lack of time, I can't afford to say all those things. Use available resources efficiently. Be economic. Safeguard health and safety. Be environmentally sound and sustainable. And generally manage risks throughout the entire life cycle of the system. My dear friends, I cannot find a better definition who an engineering is, what an engineering activity is. If you study this, if you want, print this and keep it on your table. Whenever you have problems, look at this. You will find a solution. I don't have all the time in the world to go through all the material that I have come prepared to present to you because of lack of time, and maybe you are tired already. I'm not so sure. So yes, I see a few people dropping off, but still I have 50 people listening to me. Thank you very much for listening to me for so long. Right. Now, there are many charts coming up. I'm not going to go through all the charts, but this chart is very important. What does the International Engineering Alliance say? Washington Accord graduates. That means all of you are capable of being a Washington Accord graduate. But this is a particular book. You see, I'm only using a book. But the principle is what is important. You are in a manner, you are in a position with your knowledge of engineering to apply that knowledge of engineering, which is mathematics and science and engineering fundamentals, and an engineering specialization, which you are going to, all those WK1s and W4s in the subsequent tables, read them carefully, to solutions of complex engineering problems. What those complex engineering problems, I'll talk to you later. Somebody's mic, please be careful. Maybe by mistake you have unmuted. So you must apply your scientific knowledge and engineering fundamentals to solve complex engineering. That's what you should be doing. You should not be doing routine engineering work only. You should be able to find out problems in what you're doing. And that means, do you think if you're an operation maintenance, you can't be a good engineer? No. Every operation, maybe you have provisions to improve. I was very fortunate to be an electrical engineer, to do industrial engineering as an optional subject. And there I have learned about work study and time study. Those are 2 branches of engineering that helped me a lot. How best to do some work and how efficiently to do some work, saving time. Work study, time study. Please read up on those. It's taught in industrial engineering. Those days, industry was only available for mechanical students. So I grabbed the opportunity and I did that as an elective. That was in 1970s. So probably you have better options to do this kind of modules now. Now, of course, if you have gone beyond that, but no, still you can read up. Sydney Accord graduates, the technologists apply knowledge of mathematics, science, and engineering fundamentals. They also have that. And then engineering specialization, blah, 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 respectively to defined and applied engineering procedures, processes, systems, and methodologies. Who develop the procedures, processes, and system or methodologies? Engineers develop that. And they only work within the confines of the procedures and processes that you as engineers have instituted, set up. Dublin Accord, the technicians apply knowledge of mathematics, science, engineering fundamentals, and engineering specialization, respectively to wide practical procedures and practices. They do routine things, my dear friends, according to the manuals that you all have produced. You all are the guys who solve the complex problems. You are the guys who solve complex problems. The range qualifier in several acute statements uses the notion of complex engineering problems. Complex engineering problems are problems that never been solved before. That means even in your workplace, you see some problem that have never been solved by anybody before. Solve it. Broadly defined engineering problems for the technicians, technologists, and well-defined engineering problems for the technologists. So if you have any difficulty in these things, please write to me. I'll send you my email in the end. As I said before, my dear friends, I have no time to go through all these charts. I do that first column in every class, but I can't do that today. So please read about the depth of knowledge required by you. If you have not got the depth of knowledge that is required by you, study some of them. Even now, it's not too late. Range of conflicting requirements. So you as engineers have to deal with conflicting requirements, involve wide-ranging or conflicting technical engineering and other issues, especially when you do projects under trying circumstances. You get across these conflicting requirements. Depth of analysis required. So this, if you go through horizontally, you see what the engineer should be capable of, what the technology should be capable of, what the technician should be capable of. So please, I beg of you to read this, at least the first column in these tables, especially this one. You are now in the mode of solving problems. You are in the mid-career or young engineers or mid-career. So this is the time that you are grappling with problem solving. Familiar to the issue. Now look at this. Involve infrequently encountered issues. That is engineering. You have never seen some of these problems before. Extent of applicable codes, extent of stakeholder involvement and conflicting requirements. Interdependence. Interdependence, I won't say a word. Long years ago, when I visited, some of these people who are living in districts, who are working in districts will know this. The district development councils are generally chaired by the district politician, who is the senior most in the district, especially on the ruling party. In some places, some issues I know that some of the DDCs those days were even chaired by the opposition parties in certain districts. That is why the leadership matters, you see. But in most cases, I see only the ruling party politicians. They chair the DDCs, district development councils. And the secretary of the district development council is the district secretary of the government agent those days. And I was attending a meeting long years ago in the Ratnapura district development council where we had some projects there. And there was a member of parliament for Balangoda, I still remember his name, Abu Sali. And at that time, the president, late President Premadasa was the Minister of Highways. And he's a tough guy as the minister. The RDA, frail-looking RDA engineer stood up to discuss about a road that was being constructed. That was during the rainy season, fair enough. And he was trying to explain to the DVC why during rainy season, the soil cannot be compacted. That's the first time I heard about these things. I'm sure the civil engineers know that better than I, soil engineers. He was saying, I am using this roller, that roller, vibration roller, this roller, that roller. And he was trying to explain in all technical terms to Mr. Abusali. He got angry. He said, I will make sure you are transferred out from the district today itself. And he was transferred out. So like this. Now, what I want to tell is this. Then later on, I saw in certain DDC meetings. So the politicians are, this is the time that they have a field day for engineers. They whack engineers like left, right, and center. I'm sure those who have read this DDC will have witnessed to this. If there anybody, please confirm whether I'm telling the true of what I'm telling is truth or false. Please, if there's anybody from the districts, please tell whether I'm telling the truth or not. Right? This is the greatest way that they have to whack engineers. So they sometimes have, so the road engineering services, the water board has not still laid the pipelines. The water board is so water board engineer, he gets up and says, sir, the CB has not shifted the poles. Where is the CB engineer? Whatever. So CB engineer say, put the blame on someone else. I got fed up. Why should engineers go in front of the politicians and accuse another engineer for not doing that work? So during my presidency as IESL president in 2014, I set up a mechanism called planning circles. I don't know how many planning circles are working today in the IESL. Every district, I asked them to put planning circles. So that before the DDC meeting, you know the agenda. I said, please gather, even over a cup of tea or whatever, and discuss what the problem the DDC fellows are going to ask you, and have same answer, one stock answer. It started working. Otherwise, we just go and we don't worry about the interdependence. We know very well we have to work in interdisciplinary environment. The road engineers have to depend on the CV engineers, CV engineers have to depend on the water board engineers, water engineers have to depend on the telecom engineers. Are we not the same clan coming out of the same military system in this country? Why are we going and exposing ourselves in front of the politicians? And what does the politician do? Atti halenna denawa apita. Atti halenna denawa. Nadda. Kawut nadda over here. Ekkenekවත් දෙනවා. 53 ඉන්නවා. I'm surprised that no one has, oh, there are some cats coming up. What are these? Please share the presentation as early as possible. I will. Thank you. Not clear. Cannot read. Yes, maybe. I'm so sorry about the documents that you'll be getting this. You'll be getting this presentation. I will write an email to say that you all should be given this presentation. Right? So consequences, judgment. Please read these things up. If you can't get this thing, go to the IEA website. All these documents are available. Range of engineering activities, complex engineering activities, what it means is written there. Range of resources required, level of interactions, innovation, consequence to society and the environment. My dear friends, you have to be competent on these complex activities. If you are not in any way, firm up your competencies. There's no time for you to do that because you are coming to be checked to become a professional engineer, to give the charter. The knowledge profile, of course, this is for the what I said about the graduate attributes. And it's a graduate part of this knowledge base that stems from these 12 graduate attributes. Right? Engineering Council. Now, this I'm talking about the Engineering Council of UK. They classify once again 3 categories of engineers. They of course have the engineering technician, engineering corporate engineer, which is IEng, or chartered engineers, IEng. But this UK. So now I'll skip and go to chartered engineer. This is what you are aiming for, to become a chartered engineer. Are characterized by their ability to develop appropriate solutions to engineering problems using new or existing technologies through innovation, never heard of, right? Creativity and change. Innovation, creativity, and change. They might develop and apply new technologies, promote advanced designs and design methods. Life of a child engineer is not easy. Introduce new and more efficient production techniques. Marketing and construction concepts, or pioneer new engineering services and management methods. Have you even realized that this is your role? Have you even realized that this is your role? Change systems. If your bosses don't agree, argue with them. Tell why your system is superior than what he's been using for ages. Don't fight with them. They'll chase you away. Don't come to you saying, sir, Mangila, sir, give me the bottle. Aragata Mosaka, Mosama Veliwa. But talk to them, confront them, ask them questions why your system is not so good as his system. If he's an intelligent engineer, he will agree with you. Chartered engineers are variously engaged in technical and commercial leadership and possess effective interpersonal skills. Friends, all these three characteristics are required of a chartered engineer. You should be technically competent. You must have some kind of economics and commercial interests. Or I say commercial, not personal commercial, but that things should work out all right in a profitable manner. And you must have effective interpersonal skills. I'm sorry, I can't go through everything. Engineers' inherent interaction in society and society needs leads to engineers' response to society, which includes safety and welfare of the public and of clients, professional ethics, legal liabilities of engineers, environmental responsibility, quality communications. All these 6 attributes are part and parcel of an engineer when you go and work in the society. Now, engineers' approach to problem solving. It's just as important that engineers first approach ethical, safety, liability, legal, environmental, quality, and communications issues in the first step of the problem solving. As that senior engineer that day went and met this managing director and got his file flowing to his spectacles, is because he was not able to communicate properly what he solved. You should be able to communicate very clearly what your solution is. This allows engineers to address and analyze each element of the problem, from the problem statement to the release of the product or services or the design to the customer. This allows engineers to integrate the consideration of ethical and other considerations directly into the thinking process, and to expand the alternative designs to potentially eliminate or reduce problems, rather than simply to react to the problems later on. As engineers, we all know that there is no single design or no single solution to any problem. We have myriad of solutions, myriad of designs, and you must pick up the best that falls in line on ethical grounds, safety grounds, liability issues on legally, environmental safeguards, quality, and communications. All these factors, these 6 factors, have to be borne in mind in your design, in your final product. That is what engineers are supposed to do. And these are the kind of knowledge attributes you must have: accuracy and rigor, honesty and integrity, respect for life, law, and public good. You can't vandalize resources. You can't vandalize resources. The time is, I think, now 9 o'clock. Is it correct? The time 9 o'clock now? Yes, sir.
8:55.
Around 8:55, yeah.
8:55, yeah. So
Yes.
I'll try to stop at 9 o'clock. Is it okay if I stop? Or I can even go on the video.
Okay.
Yes or no? You want me to stop at 9 o'clock or you want me to go a little bit more? I can give you a question and answer session, okay? That's better, I suppose. You can ask me questions if you're willing to, okay? I told you a lot of things, so I'm prepared to answer. Honesty and integrity, respect for life, law and public good. As I said before, at Upper Kotpani, I gave them 3 things. You should not tell a lie, you should not deceive, and you have no right to take other people's lives to your hands. Responsible leadership, listening and informing, my God. This is what we don't do, engineers. This is what we don't do as engineers. We are not prepared to listen to others. What do we need our engineers to be? Listen with an open mind. First, you listen to others before speaking up. You know, we have a very bad habit. When someone comes and gives you a problem, please, my dear friends, don't do that. At least even if you know what he came for, first listen to him with an open mind and speak up when required. Don't be shy. You should be in a talking mood. I'm not saying no, you have to only blabber. No, don't blabber. But talk, be in a talking mood. When someone asks you a question, be prepared to give an answer. Don't ration your words, but speak sense. Speak sense. I have another presentation. Actually, these people have not scheduled that for me. I'm showing you how you to write and speak for others to understand. So if there's time for you to do these lectures, you ask Sanjeeva to arrange that lecture. I'll do that for you if time permits. Write well. Clearly and logical writing in whatever you write. Don't write things that you are not sure about. But the problem is when you speak, you can always say, yes, I made a mistake. But when you write and put something in writing, you can't escape by saying, I made a mistake. It will be taken up against you. Fiercely be careful about the accuracy of what you have written. Even later on, if you find that you have made a mistake, immediately correct it. Good manners. Be courteous. Well-mannered. Don't shout at people. Do you like anyone shouting at you? I, of course, shout at certain people, but under certain conditions, certain people. I mean, if I say I have not shouted, it's wrong. Sometimes you get angry and you shout, but you immediately apologize. I have done that even to my very, very junior staff. Drivers, cleaners, I get angry at sort of shout. We are all human beings. Then you apologize. But we always try to be courteous and well-mannered. Dress well. To the occasion, you have to be dressed, appropriately dressed. Now, that doesn't mean to say you must go in a tie and when cut the heart away, feel that site on the shoes dagana kondi gel gagana tie dagana no ne. You can go in field shoes and denim or whatever, it doesn't matter. But be appropriately dressed, but smartly. Don't go shabbily dressed. Read well. As engineers had always told my staff, 50% of your work is field. 50% of your work is read. Field and read. Field and read, you can adjust according to your job specification, but there's nothing to stop you from reading. And it is something that you hate to do. I know these young guys. But if you don't read, you remember you're not going to go very far. and work hard. There's nothing to substitute for working hard. Are you ready to face the challenge? I asked this question before. Are you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
එකයි දෙන්නයි. හරි.
Yes, sir.
බලාගන්න yes කියලා නැති කට්ටිය. And this is what you said, huh? Now you are prepared to face this fellow.
Yes.
This is your engineer, huh? Very good. I like the fellow who said yes. Who said yes?
Anthony.
That is Anthony. Very good, Anthony. You said yes. I'm so happy about it. But remember, my dear friends, there are two things when you said yes. So you can now mute, right? Now mute. You face, I'll tell you how you face the challenges. I faced such challenges in my life. Face the challenge confidently thinking. Please, can someone who has unmuted, please mute your mic, please. Please mute whatever you are, maybe the TV is on. Yeah, okay, right. Face the challenge confidently thinking, if I can't, who can? If I cannot solve this problem, who can? Go ahead and solve it. Then, after solving, don't keep it yourself. Then think, after winning and solving the problem, be humble enough to say, if I can, who can't? So, who are these who can't? Your peers, your friends, your colleagues. So, are you going to hide your solution? Are you going to keep your knowledge to yourself like Guru Mushti those days? Don't keep it yourself. Tell others what you have done to solve the problems. How do you tell others what you have done to solve the problems? Publish papers, publish literature. At least put up a note to your bosses, your colleagues. Somebody someday will pick it up and use your knowledge. Why are you trying to be stingy? Give out. Every religion says give out. No religion says keep everything to yourself. You can be Christian, Buddhist, Islam, or Hindu, or any other religion. Or even if you don't have a religion, I think the good manners tells you to give out. Share your knowledge with others. Look at these awful pictures. I'll rush through them. Who is responsible? Engineers, electrical engineers. Don't blame the technician or the technologist. Who is responsible? The regulatory engineers. This in Sri Lanka. An old building collapsed in Colombo. Why didn't the authorities advise these people to refurbish this building before it collapsed? This is one of the worst human disasters caused by engineers. And already we have started collapse. In Sri Lanka, we have a couple of building collapses, very well published. And when we analyzed, we found in both cases, the same engineer has been responsible, and he has passed out as an engineer from a university in Sri Lanka, but he is not a chartered engineer, but he has been signing as chartered engineers. So where is that ethics? Where is that ethics? Looks funny. There was a joke in one of our local newspapers. It's in China, Fung Chu. See what happens in Sri Lanka. Does anyone know where this is? RD engineers? So can we afford to laugh at others? Can we afford to laugh at others, my dear friends? I'm not pointing fingers at RD engineers. There are worse things happening in other fields as well. I showed you the electrical disasters. If technologists and technicians try to do the job of engineers, this may happen. Why? Why do technicians and technologists do the job? But we don't do their job, our job. But are we prepared to face the challenge? You said yes. Can we confidently say that we engineers in Sri Lanka will not let these disasters happen in our country? Can IESL assure that our chartered engineers are in a position to avoid these kind of disasters? The answer is in your hands. So I'm skipping this Engineering Council on public policy. I've added these things for you to know about it. The purpose of Engineering Council is to maintain operational standards, conduct of engineering practices, registration of different categories of engineering practices. I know why most of you are now rushing in to become IESL members, because you know, unless you become an IESL member, you can't register in the ECSL. So I will skip these things. Are you ready? One final question. This is the last slide. Are you ready? Now you can all unmute. I want everyone to unmute now. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Everyone unmute. There are 43 of you. 42 of you.
Yes, sir.
One big shout. Are you ready?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
There are some people still not shy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Some people are not shy. Samira, where are you? Unmute and say, yes, I'm ready. The last slide, man. Come on.
Yes.
So I hear some female voices. I see some male voices. Okay, that's the last slide. This is what you say. So be innocent as a child, but be ready to punch and accept the challenge. Don't feel shy. Don't be awed by others. Yes. So I'll give you 5 minutes to ask me questions. Anybody who wants to ask me any question on any engineering matter, I'm ready to answer. Okay, no problem. Kalpani Jayasundra, she was unmuted first, and now no problem. Your kids are making fuss. No issue, Kalpani. We understand everything. You know, in my house, you heard a lot of noises. No problem. Sure. No problem. Your Kalpani must be female. No problem. Your kids can make a loud noise, loud as ever. That's their house. Okay. Any question that anyone would like to ask me on what I have said and what you want to know about the IESL or anything, because my job is to make sure and impress on you what a professional engineer should be about. And if you want to see this for the next presentation, which I used to do some time ago in the same for PRP candidates, it's titled How to Make Sense When You Talk and Write. So just another 2-hour presentation. I can still do that for you if IESL schedules it. Okay. That's an open invitation, and I'll write my email address. And if you are shy to ask any questions now, or if it is too late for you to ask me questions, please send me an email. Okay, it's shaminath@gmail.com. So if there are no more questions, it's about now 10 minutes past 9, right? If someone try to ask a question, that person is phone is not working. Okay.
Will it possible to share the presentation as I mean on the recording?
I will now send this recording. Of course, you have to ask from the institution, and Sanjeev assured me it is going to be uploaded to the YouTube perhaps. It has been all uploaded the previous ones. And my presentation, this modified presentation or the best presentation, I'll send it to Sanjeeva. Please get in touch with him and get the latest slides from me. I saw a few mistakes are corrected right now and send it to you. Any substantive questions on the material I presented and shared with you? Anybody who doesn't agree with me? You're most free to disagree with me. I love people who disagree, because then only I know I have done something wrong if I have done anything wrong, right? So today is May 9th, right? 9th neither? Tamo, huh?
Yes, May 9.
Yeah, so 1900 to 2100. Huh? Sorry, I started almost an hour late. That's okay. I hope you will pardon me. How is the situation right now? What you see, because we don't, actually I'm in Houston. I had to come here because my wife had to come here because my daughter's about to give birth to a child. So we came here. How is the situation? Anyone knows? But we are also worried from here as well. Okay, let me have a look at it from the news. I'm not going to bother you. Any questions? If you don't have any questions, I will. Is 10 past 9 or what? Is it 10 past 9? Quarter past 9, is it? Blue. Is it quarter past 9? The time? 10 past 9. Okay, 12 past 9. Right. So if you have no other questions, thank you very much for your patient listening. And there are a whole lot of review material. Please read them and try to absorb those small important theory aspects. Anthony? By the way, Anthony, where are you working at?
CP1.
Huh?
RDC.
RDC, okay. Central Highway.
Expressway 1, yeah.
Expressway, oh, good. So you must be facing a lot of problems, right?
Yes, of course.
So I hope it will be, what I said was useful.
Yes, exactly. Wonderful presentation.
Okay. Anybody else? Anyone else would like to interact or ask a question? Then otherwise, I'm just ending the show and just about to close the meeting. Close the meeting, right? So I still see, let me see some of the guys. I can recognize some of them. Are there any CEB engineers around in this class right now? Till at 9 o'clock? No CEB engineers. Okay. Right. Okay, thank you very much for, I enjoyed talking to you. Okay, close. Okay. All right. Good night. Stay safe. Hope tomorrow morning everything will settle down. That's how.